Good evening. Welcome to the UUJusticePA annual meeting. I am so delighted you decided to spend at least some of your weekend with us. If we haven't met, I'm Reverend Joan Sabatino, Director of our Unitarian Universalist Pennsylvania State Advocacy Network, UUJusticePA. You've already seen some visuals. Wasn't as smooth as I had hoped, but we're going to get it better later. And heard part of a justice soundtrack that I learned how to put together throughout the evening. And tomorrow there will be more visuals, more music, presentations, worship, discussions. What I hope you experience this weekend is the energy of Unitarian Universalists across PA. Waking up, reaffirming our commitment to the marginalized communities of our state, getting off the couch, joining together to be a presence and a force in Harrisburg and across the state. Letting our elected officials know we are here and we mean business. We want justice for everyone in Pennsylvania. Thank you again for joining. Enjoy the ride, feel the energy, let the fun begin. Bill Clinton? Unmute, Bill.
Okay, so there it is. I'm unmuted. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad and pleased that you were with us. We look forward to a very successful annual meeting. So we're here to do a couple of things. We're here to celebrate our accomplishments in 2020, and there are many. And we also want to lay out a vision for what 2021 will mean for our organization. So we are, as Joan said, an activist faith that is called to address the challenges of this moment in history. And this is a very important moment indeed. So it is important that we're all together both tonight and tomorrow. And I look forward to having this experience with you. I'd like to begin by introducing the board members. And when I mention your name, if you could just wave or do whatever, that would be wonderful. So first is Carol Stoll, who is the board secretary from the UU Congregation of York. Then there's Tim Steyer, who is the board treasurer, and he's from the Church of the Restoration in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. And then Dubrinska is a board member from Center County Church. Steve Fuege is a board member from the North Hills Church. Margaret Caro is a board member from the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. Reverend Terry Cummings is a board member of the Congregation of York. Jordi Comas is a board member of the UU Congregation of Susquehanna Valley. And Rick Williams, our newest board member, is from the UU Congregation of Wyoming Valley. And as you'll recall, Rick served for 3 years as our director, and we are so pleased to have him back on the board. So I want to also introduce the chairs of 3 of our key committees, 3 of our board committees, and they are the Fundraising and Membership Committee, which is led by Carol Ballance of North Hills, and you're going to hear a little bit more from her later on. And the Marketing Committee is headed up by Ruth Bowen of the Mainline Church, and she's doing a great job. The Nominating Committee is chaired by Steve Fuege of North Hills. Tim Steyer of Restoration serves on it with Joan Sabatino. So Joan, let me turn it back to you to introduce our, attendees and our staff and your reflections on our accomplishments.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to do a roll call of the congregations present. They're not in any order. And if I repeat, excuse me. And if I miss you, excuse me. Mainline Unitarian, First Unitarian Church of Berks County, UU Church of the Restoration, Unitarian Church of Harrisburg, First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh, UU Church of the North Hills, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York, Unitarian Society of Germantown, UU Church of the Delaware County, Mainline, I think I said that already, sorry, First UU Church of Indiana, Ginger Hill UU Congregation, UU Congregation of Erie, First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Susquehanna Valley, UU Congregation of Wyoming Valley, Unitarian Congregation of Westchester, UU Fellowship of Centre County, Wells Springs Congregation, UU Congregation of the Lehigh Valley, that may be a repeat, the UU Fellowship of Pottstown, Unitarian Universalist of the Cumberland Valley, and I think that's it. I'll give you a report of how many that was tomorrow. So I'm going to give a brief report on our accomplishments for this year. While preparing for the annual meeting last year, we had to switch about a month out to virtual. And I sure did not expect to be all virtual a year later. Most of us are tired of Zoom and looking forward to in-person events. But we also have become more aware of the cost of reduction in no travel and no food, and how many more people attend both our Advocacy Day last fall and our annual meeting last year and our annual meeting this year. Personally, I feel proud that I am still young enough to take on tech challenges and wise enough to be flexible. At least that's how I'm feeling these days. So we're going to show you most of our accomplishments on our video once we get it running smoothly, but a few highlights. Our data management system has been upgraded from Salsa Classic to Salsa Engage, and the staff has already experienced the user-friendly approach and benefits to Salsa Engage. Of particular interest will be the statistical reports we will be able to show the board throughout the year and the supporters at next year's annual meeting. It was tough going. It was a hard job transferring data, but we've got it, and you're going to hear about the staff who helped me do it in a minute. Our website facelift is so close to being complete. I thought it would be done for this weekend. It's not quite, but I think within the week, by the end of this month. And you'll see, and you already have seen some of the website highlights on the video. So we've enhanced our staff. Serving as director of a statewide advocacy network is not a one-person job. It's not even a half-time one-person and a half-time staff person job. My priority is to maintain a visual, consistent presence in Harrisburg. We have with us now Acting Administrator Ruth Thomas, who some of you know, have gotten to meet. And she's acting because Ruth is, like me, we're high 60s, low 70s, and we're not going to be around forever. So, but we will be around long enough to have a good infrastructure developed and a good solid base to push the organization forward. So Ruth, I hope you're waving at everyone. And we also have a congregational liaison coordinator. And most of you have met Karen Carnahan. She's from the Ginger Hill Church. She's also the president of the Pittsburgh cluster of congregations. And what I've tried to create is an essential overlap of tasks and redundancy of skills. A stronger, healthier infrastructure, I hope, will mean greater productivity, connections, and presence. We continued this year all throughout 2020 with every other month all UUJusticePA calls, and we will continue with those through this next year. It's an opportunity to see and hear what other teams are doing, share possibilities for collaboration, and receive information about efforts greater than single issues. We also heard from several of people that UUJusticePA didn't put enough programs out, educational programs. So we have sponsored several already, and we will continue throughout the year. Let's see, we've done that with individuals, with teams, and with congregations. Interest has been focused primarily on good government and economic justice, but I am open to all possibilities as long as the program is top-notch, compelling, informative, and engaging. Yes, my standards are high. I've said several times that I want people across Pennsylvania, not only Unitarian Universalists, to say, I always attend the special interest series UUJusticePA offers, because they are always so informative, interesting, and engaging. And we cannot forget our efforts with UU, the Vote PA. With the help from the UUA, we hired Reverend Kathy Ryan Starr as our organizer, and we made calls, sent texts, and mailed postcards and letters across PA, and also in Georgia and Texas. There is no doubt that Pennsylvania have helped boost the Biden-Harris ticket over the top, and there is no doubt that UUs were part of that effort. We need to be proud, but we also need to be strategic as we move forward for future elections. Our state is still a swing election state. Elections and legislative efforts for justice will continue to be difficult and will take time and strategy to overcome. We've had some successes this year, energizing our teams with new members, and we hope to continue this effort. The old adage that political organizing is about organizing people and organizing money is still true. And UUJusticePA will continue to do the work of growing our organization and hopefully find easy on-ramps for you and fellow UUs across the state to join us. That is my report.
Thank you very much, Joan. Thank you. That's quite a report, and that's quite a set of accomplishments, and I so value your leadership. What I'd like to do is start by asking, so who is UUJusticePA? We are first UU members who are guided by principles of valuing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. As Joan said, we are justice seekers. We are activists who get involved in the justice work of the world. We are involved in our communities. We serve on school boards, municipal councils, and now we have a Unitarian Universalist who was just elected to the PA House of Representatives, and that is Diane Herron from Westchester, and you will have a chance to meet her tomorrow in one of our panels. We are also big urban and suburban churches in blue districts and small churches in red districts that have come together to expand voting, to fight for justice in Harrisburg, and to serve in local elected and appointed offices to influence policy. We are an activist faith denomination that seeks justice throughout Pennsylvania. Now, 2020 was a very challenging year. The pandemic, as you all know, began in March, and both the state legislature and our churches closed. Everything, including our Sunday services, became virtual. The presidential election, which split the nation and this state, was a fight for our democracy. Our organization got involved as never before by participating, as Joan said, in the UUA's UU the Vote program. And then on May 25th, George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin. There followed a summer and a fall of protests across the country, clamoring for racial justice and leading to the conviction that we had this week. To say the least, 2020 was a very challenging year for all of us. So, as a statewide justice-seeking organization, how do we define the current period? And just as importantly, how do we respond to it? So I'll offer you three major themes to consider. One is the continued importance of our current justice team work. Two is the need to protect our democracy by increasing voting and fighting voter suppression that is so active in this state. The third theme is the centrality of race in shaping our justice work. Now let's look at each of these themes and what they mean to us for 2021. First, our current justice team work. We have justice teams that cover legislative issues, from criminal justice reform to economic justice, from gun violence prevention to environmental justice, and much more. We are committed to supporting these teams by providing timely information in each of these areas so that local congregations can influence their local legislators in their home districts, while Reverend Joan greets the legislator in their Harrisburg office with the same issues. Our justice work across 6 justice teams must and will continue. Attacks on our democracy. As an organization, we will not forget the more than 70 Republican state legislators who would not accept the results of the presidential election. This was so egregious, and we have put them on notice that they must, 1, rescind their insurrection vote, 2, accept the fact that Biden won Pennsylvania, and 3, follow the oath of their office to support the Pennsylvania Constitution. Now, our letter stating all of this and a listing of who the 70 Republican legislators are who still have not accepted the fact that Biden won the election. Both of these lists are in your current annual report, and I encourage you to look them up and reflect on the strength of our position. So that's the first thing when it comes to attacks on our democracy. The second is that there are 5 House and 5 Senate voter suppression laws under consideration in our legislature right now that mirror the same voter suppression laws that have passed in Georgia. And we need to fight with our partner organizations across the state against these laws, and we're committed to do that. The last is, when it comes to attacks on our democracy, is voting. Now, voting is key, as we all know, to protecting our democracy. And I applaud the UUA for continuing its focus on organizing to increase voting across the nation, and particularly in Pennsylvania. I know that Georgia's Stacey Abrams, who was this year's Ware Lecture presenter at the General Assembly, will focus on the tone that we need to prepare ourselves for 2022, when the governor, all Pennsylvania congressional congressmen and state office seats will be up for re-election. So our organization will be ready to organize as we did in 2020 to get out the vote. Now, the last is the centrality of race in shaping our justice work. So on Tuesday, we received the verdict in the murder trial of George Floyd, and there was a great relief throughout the country. And that relief came from our experience that police killings of Black people in this country have a long history of going unpunished. Race is central to our justice work. Justice for people of color means justice for everyone. One of the lessons of the UU The Vote experience last year was that we did not use the lens of race to frame our work. We believe that our work on voting would have been much more powerful if we had. We have work to do. In response, next weekend, our board and staff of UU Justice will be attending Jubilee 3, the anti-racism training that has been developed by Paula Cole-Jones. And our goals as a board are the following. 1, to better understand each other's experience with racism and how we are currently involved in fighting racism for us individuals and as an organization. And then 2nd, to develop specific action plans that we as UU Justice can take to fight racism in Pennsylvania. So our vision for 2021 is clear. Deepen and strengthen our justice team work throughout the year. 2, protect our democracy by expanding voting and fighting voter suppression. And 3, learn together about systemic racism so that we can use anti-racism as a lens to do all of our justice work. Thank you very much. So the work of our organization needs your financial support. And to build our organization's power, as Joan said, we need to organize people and organize money. Next, I would like to introduce the chair of our fundraising and membership committee, Carol Ballance of North Hills Church, to address the funding of our organization. Carol?
Good job.
Come here. Hold on 1 second, Carol. I'm going to give you the be able to unmute yourself. Hold on. There we go. Oops, wait, no, that's not what I wanted. Okay, you should have a pop-up to ask you to unmute.
Okay, there, I got it. I'm sorry, folks, I couldn't unmute myself. And I could have signed my speech, but that wouldn't do most of you any good. So, hello, fellow justice seekers. I'm Carol Ballance from the UU Church of the North Hills, which is north suburban Pittsburgh. A number of years ago, I was passionately involved in the fight for better public transportation, which is notoriously bad in the Pittsburgh area. Philly's got some problems too. Anyway, what I learned in that successful fight is that even if Allegheny County wanted to tax itself to have better public transportation, it cannot. Only the state legislature can do that. Much of what impacts our daily lives is controlled by Harrisburg. What was needed was a statewide social justice organization. And voila, there was UU Plan, now UUJusticePA, showed up. A statewide social justice organization that clearly aligns with my UU values. What could be better? I hope you feel the same way. We really need to have this organization to do this work. And have this organization and get all the work done that Joan and Bill just spoke about, we need money. If you are not yet a member, please join. Membership rate is suggested at $40 a year. If that's not in your budget, you can join for less. If you are already a member, or if $40 is just a drop in the bucket in your budget, then you can give more. If we want to maintain our excellent staff, our renovated website, all of this takes money. And as they say, it takes organized people and organized money to build power. And if we want to save our democracy and deal with systemic racism, all that we want to do, we will need money to do that. You can go to our website, UUJusticePA.org, and look for the join or donate button in the green bar at the top. And Nancy already dropped the link in once, but I believe she will drop it in again, and just did. So please go there and join or make a donation. Thank you very much for supporting this important work.
So it's Joan again. And first of all, I have to say we are pretty good. We started a few minutes late. That is our annual meeting. Nothing boring about it, right?